I'm Patrick O'Leary. I farm with my father and my two brothers, and also have two full-time hired employees that work with us. We farm some over 5,000 acres, and we have capacity to handle about 7,000 pigs at any given time. Sometimes we have a few more acres, a little bit less acres, but that's generally where we're at. So last year's crop actually was better than expected with the conditions that we grew the crop in. We lacked rain all the way through the midsummer. We didn't start getting rain until August. In general, the crop was better than we expected last year. We did get a lot of rain at the end of the season, so we did end up fighting with wet conditions through harvest of the corn especially, but we got it all done and turned out quite well for us. As far as the quality of the crop, even with the drought, we didn't see any significant impacts. You know, we sent in some samples for the USEC survey, of course, with the soybeans. Those numbers came back what we kind of expected from previous numbers we had on the protein levels and things there. It's hard to predict what's going to happen. You know, I anticipate we're coming into a spring if the temperatures warm up and the frost comes out, that I don't foresee any issues with planting other than around temperatures. Now, that can change next week. We just don't know. But I think the fall brought us some moistures that helped us recoup some of our losses from last summer. So hopefully we'll at least have a good start to the season from a moisture standpoint. But once we do get started, all of it goes in the ground quite fast. If the conditions are fit to put the crop in the ground, we probably do the whole planting, corn, soybeans, in less than 2 weeks. When it comes to marketing on the farm, of course, we've seen our challenges in that. You know, over the last 2 years, we've seen commodity prices go from being very low to actually significantly higher. Of course, we always start marketing early. We look at what it takes to pay the bills around the farm. Our 2022 crop, we have started marketing that. Maybe say we're somewhere between that 20 and 30% marketed, depending on where that comes out as far as yields. As far as the input costs, yeah, we've seen a significant increase. How it's going to impact our production this year, it's hard to predict until we see it. You know, we've always been in a situation at the farm that our fertilizer programs have been build programs, so we've always fertilized slightly more than what we expected the crop to use, trying to make sure we got the nutrients out there for it. This year, maybe our strategy's changed a little bit and maybe going into a more crop removal kind of scenario. So we're still putting the fertility out there necessary to grow the crop we expect, but probably no excess fertility that's going out there. We were fortunate some of the inputs we pre-bought early enough that we paid significantly more for them than we had the year before, but definitely didn't buy them at the top end of where they are today. I think where our concerns come in the farm today around inputs is your availability to get them, to make sure they're here. So we've really made an effort in the last 3 or 4 months that the inputs that are necessary to operate the farm, as far as chemicals and fertilizer and things, are either bought and in a warehouse somewhere, or they're in a warehouse here at the farm to make sure that we don't run into any issues as we move into spring. What we're running into today is, one, being able to get things. We have equipment that we've had on order since last spring when we finished up, so some of it's been on order since April and May a year ago. Some of it will not be here for spring. We're fully aware of that, and we've known about that for a while. So it's adjusting our plan around that equipment and putting the stuff that we owned before back in the field. Fortunately, most of it is very usable equipment and well-maintained equipment, so I don't see any issues with doing that. But because of the supply chains, it's made our decision-making process a little bit different. So we're making decisions on equipment purchases out into the 23 and early 24 because we don't know how the supply chain or where it's going to go in the next year and a half or 2 years.